Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Haryono, and I'm the head of Cussons Baby Research and Development. Today, we are really excited to have Professor Francis with us. He is a leading expert in sensory neuroscience and has done a lot of studies investigating the role of touch and its benefits on babies. Hello, good morning, Professor Francis.
Good
Thank
morning,
you.
Haryono.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sure there are many mothers out there who are very keen and excited to hear about how touch can effectively affect their baby's development. Could you please share a little bit more on this?
It'd be a pleasure. I mean, obviously, every mother knows that touching their baby is an instinctive behavior that bonds the pair of them. Where I come into the picture really is bringing some recent neuroscientific evidence that touch is actually playing a fundamental role in the way that baby's immune system and their brains develop. So we know that the baby's first experience with surroundings is through the sense of touch. What we now know is that sense of touch is essential to the child's growth of physical abilities, language, cognitive skills, social emotional competency. All of these benefits are emanating from the nurturing care that a mother and a baby share in the early stages of an infant's life. And these early experiences mediated through touch between the mother and the baby, they stay with that baby right the way through the rest of its life. So we now know, we have scientific evidence that early nurturing experience sets that baby up for a strong and healthy life. And it's scientific evidence.
You mentioned about quite a lot of benefits of the touch, and one of it is developing immune system. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
this is relatively new research that's coming out that we now know that touch affects chemicals called neurotransmitters in the brain. Hormones such as cortisol weaken the immune system, so cortisol is reduced. Touch also increases other neurotransmitters that strengthen the immune system, and that in turn promotes healing, recovery from disease. So basically, it sets that baby's immune system up so it can fight on diseases it may come across over its lifespan. So yeah, touch is doing all these things in the early stages of a baby's life.
that's really mind-blowing to me, right? Because I always thought that the immune system is developed from baby eating and sleeping well. And wow, I mean, like this is something really new that I learned from you today. And like in this case, right? I mean, is there a specific way we should touch our babies to maximize this effect?
Well, what guides us here is the science. So this nerve fiber, there's a nerve fiber in the skin of babies that's only recently discovered, maybe 20 years ago. Special class of nerve fiber that responds specifically to gentle caressing touch. And there are more of these nerve fibers in the back and the head of the baby and the face. So they're more distributed around the trunk areas than they are the extremities. So these nerve fibers are distributed around the body, but there's more of them around the back and the belly and the head. And basically body parts that you would like touching your baby in any case. So yes, they're distributed throughout the whole skin, but more of them towards the trunk.
Okay. And earlier you mentioned as well that this gentle touch is not only important for the baby as of now, but it also have the long-term effect. Can you please share a little bit about this long-term effect? Because yeah, I mean, this is something.
Yes, I mean, that's another advance in the last maybe 10 or 15 years. There's the old debate on nature and nurture, which leads the way that a baby develops optimally. Is it nature, i.e. the genes that it's inherited, or it's nurture? Is it the impact of the environment? What we now know through a development of a scientific area called epigenetics is that the environment alters the way that genes are expressed. So the environmental influences mediated through touch actually impact on genetic systems in that baby's brain that regulate its ability to withstand stress throughout its life. So the underlying science is there. Environment influences the way that brain develops. And touch is one of the key mediators of that influence on the way the brain is developing.
Okay. Very insightful. Thank you, Professor Francis. I hope this will encourage all the moms who hear this to touch and cuddle their baby more. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and today is also Cussons Baby new powder launch, right? I mean, we would like to understand. Could you please tell us a little bit more the connection between touch and using the product? Is there any benefit of using this product to use on babies while the moms or the parents actually gently touching them?
I think what happens when you put, powders, lotions, etc., on the skin is that it changes the friction. So it's
Okay.
a bit more slidey, more slippery. And I think that enables these nerve fibers in the skin to be excited even more by the fact that touch is now there's a more gliding movement. So you don't get any sort of sticking, slipping sort of thing.
Mm,
So yes, it's quite possible that these products enhance the benefits of gentle touch, and also they're pleasant to apply. You
mhm,
know, they have pleasant aromas. The pleasant touch and the pleasant smell are fusing together in the baby's brain. That they're associating now the smell and the touch in a way that impacts on their learning. So they begin to enjoy the combination of not only the mother touching them, but the feel of that product
mhm.
and its aroma or its smell.
Okay. I think, yeah, I mean, so far we have just talked about the touch and it is really mind blowing. And you touch a little bit on the aroma. And as you know, I mean, our new Cousins Baby Powder also comes with a specially crafted fragrance by our expert perfumer. We call this special fragrance as mood scent. This is crafted with a patented scent technology, which help drive different positive emotions depending on the variant while you are touching your baby. And do you have any insight, Professor Francis? Maybe you can share a little bit of insight, the connection between touch and aroma.
Well, that's an interesting question because there's
Mm,
some research, that is showing that what's called an unconditioned stimulus, touch is there as a basic sensory system. If that touch is delivered in the presence of an aroma, you get some memory formed between those two stimuli that enhances the whole experience. So the baby is beginning to learn the relationship between pleasant touch and that pleasant smell, in a sense, reinforces the experience for the infant. Maybe, it wants it again. It's enjoying its bath times because it has a memory of the aroma that's accompanying the touch. So the way the baby's brain is integrating information from its environment is coming through all its developing senses. So the sense of touch and the
mm,
sense of smell are very important early developmental sensory modalities that when they're stimulated together have always what one might call a super additive effect. So 1 + 1 makes 10 rather than 2. So it's, yes, I mean, again, these are early days in the research. We have a lot more to uncover in terms of understanding the mechanisms. But yes, smell and touch enhance each other.
Thank you very much, Professor Francis. I think I would have loved to speak more to you about this. I think, but in view of the time, yeah, apologies, we have to cut it short. But this is basically the power of three we are introducing for Cousins Baby New Powder. The first is the effect of parents' gentle touch on the baby's development. Second, the benefit of mild and safe products on the skin. And lastly, the third, the mood scent fragrance for a little leaf of happiness.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Haryono.
Thank you, Professor Francis.